let's see how to add post requests to your app in Nowa. So imagine you have a restaurant and you want to get the feedback from the customers. So you design a nice looking app with a nice looking feedback screen like this one. But this screen is now dead because it's just a design. So let's bring life to this baby. We're using here Airtable because it already gave us a RESTful API to use, and it's just very simple to use. It's just a table that you can save all the feedback there and access it anytime you want. So let's go first to Airtable. I wanted to create a table like this, where you have a name and the feedback. And then to be able to get the API information, you have to look for the API reference in Airtable. And then when you go to your workspace and scroll down to create records, you will find all the information you need to do a post request to that table. Now, keep in mind, you also need an API token. And to get that, you simply go back to your account here, click on it, and then click on Developer Hub. And here you can simply create a new token. Let's call it feedback page. And I want this to read and write on the base, which is my workspace. And let's create the token. Now keep this token saved in a secret place. Don't worry, I will delete this after the video, so you will not be able to post that on my table. Now go back again to Nowa and let's add an API request. Let's create a collection and let's call it feedback. So a collection is simply a bucket where you put all the requests that are very similar together. For example, if you have a login page with a sign up and like forget password where all the requests are done on the user database, you can keep all of those in one collection, and each collection has one file where it has all the information for the requests and also one model file where it keeps all the models that you need in the request. But enough with the talk, let's jump into action. Let's add a request and let's call it add feedback. Or actually I'm gonna call it a better name, submit feedback.
Boring.
Now this is a post request, and here you paste the end API that we get from Airtable.
A few moments later.
Okay, we're done with the headers. Let's jump to the body. So we don't want to submit 2 records. We only want to submit 1. So let's delete the other one. And then I don't want the name to be John Smith. And I don't want the feedback for sure to be I love your food, man, every single time. So this information has to be dynamic. To make it dynamic, let's create a parameter for this request. Let's call the first one name and give it a default value. And do the same thing for the feedback. Now to use those parameters inside, let's do it exactly how we do it usually with code. Put a $sign and you will have a list of all the variables and the parameters that you can access. So here we want the name, and here we want the feedback. Oops, we deleted the double quotation. Be sure to have it inside the double quotations. And then now we can simply run a test. And now we can find here the response. Let's check back again on the table, and here we go. We now see the test data actually being added on the table. But now let's bring the data actually from the screen instead of having a default values. So let's go back now to the screen. And where do you want the post request to be fired? Exactly when the user clicks on the submit button. So let's add some logic to this button. So here, let's add Here, let's go to the API, add our submit feedback. And then I'm gonna bring the name and the feedback from the screen. So now in the screen, I have two text fields. Each text field comes with something called controller. This is the object that usually we can take the text from. So we have two controllers. One, I called it name text controller, and the other one I called it feedback text controller. So let's go back to the circuit and let's bring those values. So I'm gonna bring now the name text controller. I want to get the value here, and then let's bring the text from it. Connect the text with the name. Let's do the same thing for the feedback. And that's it. Let's go back again to the screen and let's actually now play the app. So my name is Danas and my feedback is like, I didn't like the, I don't know, pasta. It was cold. Let's click on submit. And let's go back to the table and here we go. Here's Anas and here the feedback that he didn't like the pasta. Now, show us what can you build with Nowa.